Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Charlie Mike Show. As always, I'm your host, Raul, and your co-host, William.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? And if you've been paying attention to the show, Raul got it the first try this time. Good job, bro, man.
Yeah.
So we've changed it up a little bit. We are the Charlie Mike Show coming to you from the Pearland Podcast Studio, located just south of Houston, Texas.
Yep, man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. We keep making improvements here, and yeah, man, it's looking good. I'm excited.
Yeah, bro, me too, man. It's a lot of fun. If you guys are interested in podcasting, please look us up, Pearland Podcast Studio. If you're in the area, come on down and check us out. We actually had just two potential guests come in to see the studio, and man, we're getting rolling. It's amazing what the right people come in and get some good fans and evangelists. One of them was a follower of the show. She came in, she was like, "Hey, I'm interested in podcasting." And I was like, "Sweet, let's do this." This is a guest today is Mr. Jay Kopic, who has become an avid follower and friend of ours. This is actually the second time we're having him on the show because, as you may remember, we mentioned it with Trevor's. Some of the files got corrupted and absolutely sucks. That was a great show, but it makes round two even better.
Absolutely.
So welcome back. We really appreciate your time, really. Like I said on the first show, of course, nobody heard that, but I'm a huge fan of yours. All that you do, everything that you've been involved in, and I'm really glad that you decided to come back on. We really appreciate your time. This means a lot, and I'm excited, really, really, to get it out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that I can remember half of what I said the last time. It's always when you do this for so long, it's actually second nature. My wife was picking on me today about, well, you got to go redo that. Can you remember what you said? I'm like, I live it. So, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
That's it, man. That's it.
That is on us.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, or tell us who Jay is.
So, Jay, wow. We only have, an 8-minute show, right? Kidding. But no, my name is Jay Kopic. My full-time job is I'm the COO of Associated Credit Union of Texas. I've done that for a little over 14 years. Married, be 35 years in a couple weeks. Coming up with my beautiful wife, Laurie. We have...
Congrats.
Thank
Amazing.
you. So I can't believe I put up with her that long.
I don't know about that. She may be the other way around.
She's not here to correct me, so it's my one free shot. We all know it's the other way around, but I have 3 kids, 7 grandkids, so I have a lot of good family in that regard. And then from the credit union standpoint, the coolest thing that I've been able to do with them is the people that work there are visionaries as well, just like myself. And 8 years ago this month, we thought it would be an interesting and the right thing to do for the community to try to put together a veteran network, which we call SERVE. And so we actually had our meeting earlier today, on the 10th, today, August 10th, and that was the 8th full year that we've been in service.
I apologize.
Hey, we're here to have a good time.
This is our first podcast, man.
I won't. You want me to slurp? Does that make you feel better?
Yeah. So for those of you, that is Raul. He is opened up a Coke because that's how he keeps going. So you guys celebrated 8 years today. That's amazing. One of the things that everyone knows, Charlie and Mike, means continue mission. And what we do is we continue to bring on veterans, specifically, to hear that story of how veterans are continuing out. But Mr. J is one of the few guests that we've had on that didn't serve, but he continues to serve in many other ways. And so tell us about what serve means and how you guys got started with that.
Okay, SERVE is an acronym, obviously. It's Southeast Resource Veterans Effort. And kind of a weird name, but we had to get the word serve in there because the people that we're trying to help served. And that's just kind of the best way to describe how they're doing that. Where we started, actually 8.5 years ago, we were, 9 years ago, the credit union was looking to do something in the community development type program and try to do low-income housing, kind of find some things for the local member base. And, the difference between banks and credit unions is banks have to watch out for what they call redlining or, the Community Reinvestment Act. Credit unions actually serve the underserved. So we were trying to do more of that. And I ended up in a conversation with a young lady whose husband was a Marine. And we just got to talking about what was going on in Galveston County, and she was just rolling numbers off at me like I couldn't believe about the population, how many were women, how many were this, how many were that. And as I got to looking, it's like, well, wait a minute, there's nothing in this area that could serve veterans and their families. And when I started talking to the veterans that I did know, they had to go to Houston. They had to go to different, further away.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like a lot of sense to do that and to make them drive out of their way. And so I'm exceptionally good at networking. I know a lot of people. I'm not afraid to say, hey, what's going on? And, let's talk. And one thing led to another. And I had two veterans that had never met. They were both running nonprofits. And, I introduced them and they started talking. I go, well, wait a minute. I think I have a pretty cool idea. And so I invited 3 other individuals there. And so the 6 of us started serve on August 15th of 2015.
Wow.
And from there, it's just, the whole point is not necessarily going out and solving the individual problem of the veteran. That when we first started, it was to bring the organizations together, because the way nonprofits work is they get funding, and if you don't use the funding, it goes away. And the second thing is that nobody does the same thing. Post 9/11, pre 9/11, you had to be in World War II, you had to be a lady, you had to have served on an airplane. There's all kinds of nonprofits, and so what happens is that when somebody's out trying to find services, they're asking 15 people. And so I thought, why not try to get one of each of those that I just described sitting around the table, so that if you had one question, you didn't have to go to 15 places, you just came to me. And so it's kind of like triaging in a hospital. Veteran just sends us an email, gives us a call and says, this is what I'm looking for. And then, since that time, we went from 6 to about 65 organizations, a couple more. But we can solve a lot of problems collectively in that networking vein, so that a veteran's not spinning his or her wheels trying to find out, okay, where do I go? How do I get help?
So give me some examples of help that they would come to you and ask for.
So, in a typical setting, if you have somebody that's post 9/11 that happens to have, any type of battle wounds whatsoever, whether they're physical or mental, they may be living on the street, or they may have issues with their car, which has an issue with their job, which, it's always not one problem. I mean, if they fall behind, their rent's not being paid, something else is being skipped, they're not eating, they're having mental health issues because they're having anxiety and depression, all kinds of things. And so when they call and say, I need help with my rent, it's not just about rent. It's how did you get to this point? What other things are happening? And so we try to find, not just the root cause, but you have to prioritize. If they're living on the street, you got to get them off the street. If their car's broken down and they can't get to work, you got to get the car fixed, those kind of things. And so when a veteran calls in, it may be for a specific need, and that may not be their primary need. In their mind, it's fight or flight. But so we try to uncover what those issues are. And so we have a lot of people that, for instance, they separate from the service and don't visit the VA, so they don't have a VA rating. And that's probably one of the most common pieces, is that they don't understand how that system truly works. And, unfortunately for the veteran, it's a lot of work sometimes to get your rating just to 0. And then, you guys are more familiar with it than I am. It's work to get it.
And
So
it's important.
Oh, good. Yeah.
No, it's important, even if you got a 0.
Yeah,
just to
it
get
is.
to
you got to
0.
have the 0. You got to be
it
in the
is
system,
important. And one of the things that William and I always do when we introduce ourselves to other veterans and we speak to veterans, we say, hey, what's your rating? Why? And then those are the questions. Most likely the conversation starts from there, because we want everyone to have the
applicable rating.
Yes.
I mean, it's not about. It's hard to kind of discern and talk to veterans about that, because you guys are extremely prideful, and it's pulling teeth to get a lot of information out of folks. And so when you say, hey, we want to give, if you do this, this, and this, you'd get X amount of dollars. Well, they think it's a handout, and it's kind of like you just want to slap them across the face. It's not a handout. I mean, it's part of, what was promised to you when you signed up. It isn't out there for everybody else. And, I don't care what you think about social services or any of that piece of it. If you're a veteran and you have issues related to service, let's talk about it. And let's make sure that we at least get the right person advocating for you. And it may still be the same result. You still may be at 0, but if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is we're helping a young man, and he asked for something, then he emailed me back and he says, I apologize for even asking, blah blah blah. My response was, don't ever apologize. You get one of two answers in this life. One is yes, the other is no.
Yeah.
And you have no idea which one it's going to be until you ask.
Right.
And
Unless you ask, it's a no.
yeah, it's automatically a no. And
That's right.
So
Yeah.
No, I love that you saw that there was a need. You're using your already expanding network to bring folks together. One of the things that I've been to several serve meetings, of course I didn't make the recent one, but I will put it on my agenda, I promise, is the amount of resources that are in the room. And for those of you veterans that are listening and you're not familiar with Houston and Galveston, like Galveston's a good 45-minute drive from like the center of Houston. So it's far. And if you don't have the money, or if your vehicle is, like a lot of the Houston is growing, right? But it's also using the resources that we have within our community. We're in Brazoria County, Galveston's in Galveston County, but being able to use it and like talk to each other because there's resources out there for everyone. That's my big thing. Is like for vets to get back involved, like with other.
Exactly. What blew my mind when I was doing the research, and even today, is just the sheer volume of nonprofits that are dedicated to nonprofits. I mean, there's something upwards of 50,000 registered with the IRS today just for veterans. And you just in the state of Texas, there's 2,000, give or take. So if you're a veteran trying to find help and you've got to sort through 2,000 different ones, it can be perplexing. Now, a lot of those are the American Legions and the VFWs in there, but still, if you don't know where to go and you're trying to sift through 300, 400, 500 nonprofits, and so we just say, hey, let us do the work. And I don't have all of the answers. I mean, I had an interesting case where a young lady is having her electric bill's like $900 a month, and I don't know where those resources are, so I put it out to the entire group. I got 5 different organizations that do, equal or level billing, or they'll fight the battle for, with the Public Utilities Commission. And I didn't, I knew of one. I know 4 more now. And it's amazing that you can pass those on and say, now I can't call on their behalf, but I mean, it's pretty cool to be able to say, hey, here's 5. If you run through those 5 and you can't get it solved, A, there's something wrong, but the B, come back.
Yeah.
Because not everybody answered. But
$900 a month?
well, yeah, just for the electric bill.
Wow.
So, and again, part of that has happened, she's got a special needs child, and, regardless of what it is, the
Right.
kid has to have a certain,
of course.
she's going to do that, and she's a fighter, and I think she's asking for the right stuff, and she's responding in the right way, and, but
good.
there's just little things that you don't even know exist.
Oh, that's amazing to hear, and that's what y'all are there to do.
Yeah.
And that's got to make you feel some type of way, huh?
Yeah, it's two things happen. When I first started doing this, you're a bleeding heart. You got to help everybody, and you understand that there is a level of professional veteran out there, just like there's a professional civilian kind of stuff. And so every once in a while you get kind of jaded because somebody plays the game, but
yeah.
you have somebody else in their group come back and just, tap you on the back and say, okay, that's 1 out of a million. And so when you are able to help, and it's second nature now. It's not, I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on the fact that I helped somebody, and I don't dwell on what I did yesterday. I worry about tomorrow. We have, folks living on the street in this time period. We had a young lady and her daughter living on the street. She reached out to another agency who referred her to me. We were able to talk with her. Met her. My wife and I were going to dinner, and so we drove downtown to pick her and her daughter up and dropped her off at a hotel. And helped her stay in the hotel for 8 nights because it's 105 degrees. Mm-hmm. And it's just
It's insane.
It's insanity, and it didn't feel like I was doing anything that I wasn't supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. It's just that's what we do, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's it's not a conscious decision anymore. It's just part of who me serve and the rest of the rest of my team. When somebody needs help, you do what you can. Mm-hmm. If that, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
No.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
I think, so first of all, how can a veteran get in touch with you? Because I'm sure someone out there feels like, okay, you know what? We've had lots of folks on here. So right away, I want to ask, how can a veteran reach out to you guys?
The easiest way to do it is that go to our website. So it's www. Dot and then SE for Southeast, and so setexasheroes.com. And on there, you'll be able to see the majority of the organizations that we have, but there's a contact us page, and it's got a series of 8, 9 questions. It does ask for the rating. It asks where you live, asks for a couple other questions, and from that, then we can turn it around. And so what's really important is that Harris County is huge, and for me, it's a phenomenal aspect of serve, and that is that people are starting to really know who we are. And so the last 2 cases that I actually got referred, one of them was in Northwest Houston, and the other one was in Northeast Houston, which is completely out of there. But my relationship with Combined Arms and their reach, it's a referral back to them that says, hey, go do an intake, find out what it is, and if you can't solve it, come back to me. But the resources for Northeast Harris County and Northwest Harris County, fall under some other agencies.
Right.
But the whole point of them coming to me is that they didn't have to go anywhere. I found Combined Arms for them. They didn't have to know who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to say from the few meetings of serve that I did go to is, they track it very well where the veteran is following up. And I really appreciated that, which is why I always made time when I was working at the nonprofit to continue to make those meetings, because you just know that somewhere in there you're going to be able to help. And so when you see the list, it's not like it's very personal for the veteran. For us, it's like, hey, this is the name of the veteran. This isn't just the person who can help them and why. And then the next meeting, which would be a month later, would be, okay, this is a follow up for that person. So it's like, oh, okay. Now we can see the impact. Wait, nobody stepped up yet. Okay, somebody really needs to do this. And so that's what I appreciated. And so for folks that are out there, you mentioned Combined Arms. We had them on the podcast, a couple of different folks, a couple of times. What's the difference? For me, it's a regional thing, like you said, but also like when they contact Jay at Serve, like Jay's going to follow up.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And that's why I love, and that's why it was really important for me to get you back on, because I want you guys to get the credit for what you guys do. It's a lot of work, but I love seeing that the impact that you guys have.
Yeah, if you could call it grassroots, it is. I mean, technology is there. I mean, obviously you have emails, you have texting, and all the other part of it, but most of the time you have a veteran that may not have access to email, all they have is a flip phone, and they're not able to text in the same vein. So, I mean, some of that is, we kind of cater to anybody and everybody. We are asking, and the biggest part of this still is, you cannot advocate on behalf of a veteran. They have to ask for help, and that's the cool. We'll advocate after the fact, but if you want help, you got to ask for help, because, there's a, all 3 of us know this. There's unfortunately individuals living under bridges here in Houston, but if you go up to try to help them, they may want to be there, and so if somebody's forcing them into a lifestyle that they don't want, or to help when they, they don't feel like they need it, they're going to just be combative, and, they're going to resent it. But if they get to the point where they say, hey, look, I need help, even if it's just, I need help, they don't have to get specific. That opens the door. It's like, okay, let's get the right person in front of you.
Right.
And I think that's huge from that standpoint. So the grassroots part of that is that it's not, you're not required to do, all this expensive stuff, because what's going to happen is that if you go to Combined Arms, or if you go to Easter Seals, or if you go to anywhere, they have their own intake process, and so they're going to have to fill these things out again. And so part of it is that how do we eliminate that duplication and just have the conversation. Unfortunately, they have to repeat the conversation every once in a while. But if I do a good enough job and then push it on to, Combined Arms in the instances that we were just talking about, their intake team can easily just reach out and say, okay, Jay said this is what you're looking for. Let's start working on it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. It's great stuff. I love to hear it. And speaking like on the heaviness of being able to reach out for help, if you are looking for help, obviously Serve is a great resource. But if you're looking for immediate help and you feel like you're in crisis, the number is 988. Press 1. You can call it, you can text it, or you can start an online chat if you're not at that point. But at any time, if you feel like you're in crisis and you really need help, call or text 988. And if you're calling, press 1 if you're a military or veteran.
Yeah, I mean, it's important just to reach out.
Yeah.
And part of it too is that, nowadays, even with the doctors, the first thing that happens when you call on the phone is this is an emergency, hang up, dial 911. And, the hotlines and everything that are out there for veterans right now, they're staffed by people that really, really, really care. You just got to give them an opportunity if that's what you need. So.
Hey, enough can't be said about vets advocating for themselves. We've got to do it. That's the whole point of us coming on here to say continue mission. Is we've got to find a way to get involved with each other. So tell me, we mentioned it earlier, but tell me a little bit about the cruise that you guys just did.
Okay, so every year on July 4th, I actually go out. There's a company down in League City called Houston Party Boats. They work with us on. They have two size boats. I try to get the bigger one, so it holds up to 75 people. And then we go out and we sell tickets and try to discount them. We don't make money on it. It's not a fundraiser. It's a fun, F-U-N. And, this year we had a little over 60, probably about 63, 64 people on the boat. We get to take them out into the water down there in Kemah, watch all of the fireworks across all the cities. I mean, if you go out on, actual July 4th to the water down there, you'll see 15 or 20 different fireworks show, and some of them are simultaneous, so it's really cool. And then you get to see the high, the finale is Kemah does theirs last. They've got to be the biggest and the baddest.
Yeah.
So we go out in the middle of the water and watch that, and just have a good time. Have some libations, have some food, music, and just get to know other veterans and their families that are just wanting a break from the day to day.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
So is there a separate way for organizations that want to be involved to get in touch with you guys?
You know what? Believe it or not, it's the exact same way. I mean, just reach out at our email address is very simple. It's info@setexasheroes.com. So regardless of what you're looking for, if you want to participate, as an organization, you can send an email to that. We get a lot of them that way. You can also go to the website and go to the same place on the contact form and just say, hey, I'd like to participate, because there's a big box for you to free form it. But I think the key is we just added a couple more organizations in the last couple weeks, which is nice. And again, every time you turn around, there's a new organization, and they're not new. They've been around 10, 15 years, and we've just never connected because the need is not there. I did want to say something about the actual meetings. I think what's hugely important to how we operate. And, and that is that, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know everything and the guys on my team don't. We all run separate nonprofits. We all do different things. And so the cool thing about getting together is that any cases that come through, we do the follow-up, as you said, but there's also those where we can't solve. And so then you get to put it in front of, 15, 20, 25 people that are at the meeting. You have the distribution, that's 150 people, and the problems get solved, very quickly by just having that group of people in the room, because I may not know the answer, but you may come to the meeting and you know it. And so that's the power of the network is, if we can't solve it, when we come together once a month, we're going through all of these cases, even the ones that we've solved, because you may not know that resource exists. So if we say, hey, we solved it by doing this, they then can say, okay, if I hear it, Jay solved that problem 2 months ago. Let me go back and ask him where he got it. And it just keeps the network alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about sharing resources. There's, like you said, there's so many organizations out there. It's hard for anyone to know about all of them. But you guys are doing a good job. I really appreciate it. So I'm curious, though, more about all the other things that Jay does. You mentioned a little bit about being COO, being married for 35 years. You did mention that you're involved in many other organizations. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. So I am actually one of the founding members of the Greater Houston Veterans Rotary.
Yeah.
We're starting our third year. We meet the second and fourth Tuesday of every month down at Bighorn Barbecue in Pearland. We are, not picking on all the other Rotary clubs because I love them, but we are one of the most active Rotary clubs in the area. We have 5 events that we participate in, if not more. We go out on Memorial Day and put flags out at the cemetery. We do at Christmas time. We go back to the same place and put wreaths on all of them. We run a program called Operation Turkey, which is probably, if you haven't heard about it, then you hadn't been watching around town. But this thing It's crazy.
It's
so
grown.
we have 4 locations right now where the American Legions, for the most part, I think there's one that's not, but we go out, we buy turkeys or have them donated. We get all of the sides, the fixings, everything else. We have a website for people to register. Wednesday, starting that week, the American Legions start cooking. And Wednesday, we package all of the sides together, mashed potatoes, the yams, the, rolled corn, whatever it's going to be. And then they cook the turkeys. And then Thursday morning, starting at 6 o'clock, we have a team that all they do is sit in the kitchen and break these turkeys apart so that we can make 10,000 individualized meals for people around the greater Houston area that have registered for them. And then we have just a bus line of people that have signed up to deliver. So if you want to see something that'll blow your mind, hundreds of people in 4 different locations having, this line put together of putting these boxes together, sealing them up, and then putting them in a car with a specific address to go to. And you get that knock on the door that says, hey, here's your Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, it's incredible. And last year we did 9,200 plus meals for the area, and we're looking to continue to grow that. So if you're interested in more about Operation Turkey, you can go back to the info at sctexasheroes.com.
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy. But that one's unbelievable. Also with the Rotary Club, every year I started a program. It's our annual fundraiser, and it's 2 parts. One, we're doing a raffle with it, so the first prize is $5,000 in gold. But the cool part about it is that the raffle ticket gets you the entry into it. The other part of it is that you get a 7.5-foot flagpole with a flag on it that you get to dedicate that we will put in front of the VA for 2 weeks during Veterans Day. And so you get to dedicate, after the end of the 2 weeks, that flag belongs to you, or you can donate it back to the Rotary. So most, fundraiser raffles are $100 and you get to enter the raffle. This one it's $100. You get to enter the raffle, but you also get a flag that you can dedicate to any member of your family, your best friend, your neighbor, whatever, for that particular veteran. Then we'll fly it for you for 2 weeks in front of the VA, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you did it there was another day you did it for. Was it one
We
more?
did it for Vietnam Veterans Day.
Vietnam Veterans Day
was the second one that we did. And so we're going to combine, and then we're doing it Veterans Day from the 9th all the way through, I think, the 24th of November this year, the 19th of November this year.
And they'll be able to see the flags at the Houston VA.
Correct. Right in front. You can't miss it. It's in the emergency room exit. There's it's really beautiful. It's a stair-step column. It's almost like a water fountain, but it's made of grass.
Right.
And we have them lined up. It's kind of a circular. It really turned out cool.
So if they wanted to get involved with the flags or purchase a flag for dedication, how would they do that?
So if you're going to purchase the vacation, you can actually go to colonialfoundation.org. It is it's colonialfoundation.org or healingfield.org. So, healingfield.org, and then you can search for an event, and you'll find ours down in the Houston area. That's the easiest way to do that. Or you can email me at info@sctexas.hero. There's a theme there. If we're talking about kind of, centralizing resources, you got one place to go. That's the same thing. But that one's pretty cool because it's, and I also understand there's folks that don't necessarily like to gamble. So if you go out to that healingfield.org, there's a place just to be able to do the flag.
Right.
And dedicate that for the $50, which is normal. But we just thought it would be fun to kind of combine the two aspects of it. And, not very often do you get something when you enter a raffle. Here you get a flag. Mm-hmm. And, you not only that, but you get the pole, you get the flag, you get the rebar.
How big is the flag?
7.5 foot. It's a 3.5 foot flag on a 7.5 foot pole.
That's big.
Yeah, it is big. I mean, and they put it in your yard when you're done.
Yeah.
So, and then and the last thing, it's not the last thing, but one of the last things we do is we built a Hope Garden in the VA. So benches, and we put flowers, and it's kind of a calm place for veterans while they're at the VA to go out and just kind of sit outside and have some beautiful surroundings with them in the atrium.
That middle section right there.
Yeah, so we had done So
we just recently did that, didn't you?
in May?
Right.
So we've been trying to do that. So that's one. The other is that I'm a director for the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. The incoming year, I'll be the part of the executive board. I'll be the director of finance or their VP of finance.
Shocker,
go
right?
figure, yeah. So, but that's a cool organization. That's also a nonprofit, and they do some amazing things down there. And the advocacy that they do for the how chambers work, it's really cool how they advocate for the citizens. We advocate for veterans. They do the same thing for them. I also sit on a board called Galveston County CISM, with the acronym stands for Critical Incident Stress Management. And the best way to describe them is they are first responders for first responders. And so when the shooting at Uvalde, they've got a team that went to Uvalde to talk to the police officers, the folks on staff, the firemen, the trauma nurses, the ER doctors. So they have we have about 30 people on staff, or not staff, but 30 clinicians that actually have experience in trauma, and so they have those conversations. So they went to Parkland. They deployed to obviously Santa Fe. It's right around the corner, and then El Paso. So it's a really powerful way for somebody that wants to have confidentiality, that wants to have that conversation. It's almost like the suicide hotline, but it's designed. First responders and clinicians run it for first responders and veterans. So we have veterans that call it too.
Yeah, we had someone here who did a documentary for them,
Yeah.
highlighting first responders, paramedics.
Paramedics, firefighters, police officers, nurses.
Yeah, we're always working on it, and they go through a lot of trauma. Because they see an extraordinary amount of stuff that as veterans we see it and we live through it, but we've got a lot more resources now for us.
Yeah, and especially in the area of the fire department, they run up on wrecks all of the time. They have no idea what's in there. And if you have to use jaws of life on a 3-year-old, I mean I don't know what kind of combat you can see that would be any more damaging than something like that. I think they're on equal playing fields. So to have somebody, I don't know how you do. I don't know how you live with either one of those personally, but to have that, and then not to, the last thing, because I know it's a finite show, but
we got time.
My 5 years ago, my wife and I started a company called Charred and Starred Flag Company. We make very, very, very unique wooden flags. They're about 3 foot long, 20 inches wide. We custom make them, and they are designed to be for the individual that you're buying them for. We don't use a CNC machine. Everything is hand done with a Dremel, so there are no two alike. And it is, blood, sweat, and tears goes into them. We do a lot of signature pieces for people that want them for Father's Day, birthdays, Veterans Day. We also do a lot of memory pieces. So I just put one together. We had a young man that was killed in a work accident a couple weeks ago, and his funeral is on Saturday. And so we designed a Marine Corps flag with his name on there, and then veterans that we know are signing the back of it so we could give to his 14-year-old daughter. I know. So when we build them, we know why we're building them, and it's amazing because there really is blood, sweat, and tears in some of these flags because of who we're making them for, why we're doing that. And but that one we're almost at 1,000 flags that we've made and either sold or donated. And so we have a lot of fun doing that. It's a unique way for us to give back to the veteran and first responder community as well. And so we are exceptionally, I don't want to brag, but we're exceptionally good at what we do. We're extremely passionate about it. And, we make it about you, not us.
So I'm curious. So 2 parts. First, where could they find that out for Charred and Starred? I don't want to go on a tangent too far for that, but I do want people to find out where you are because I know you do a market. And the second one would be, how do you find the time?
so the first one, the first part of that is, charredandstarred.com. So just, so just like it is. So burned and starred like you do. So www.charredandstarred.com. Time is relative. I've been doing my job for 35 years, and the last 14 with a credit union, and that's part of my job is outreach. And so when you're talking about doing some of these things, the chamber event is during the workday. The Rotary events are during the workday. I mean, I'm in the middle of the workday right now doing the podcast talking about the nonprofit. So I've worked, and so has my wife, to the point where we have a little bit more control over our own destinies. We don't have young kids at home, which that's amazing. We're empty nesters. So you kind of balance some of those things, and it depends on the time of year. Like right now we're getting into gala season, so for the next
man.
42
That's right.
night, it's like gala. It's just crazy. And but like I said, time is relative. I think when you find something that you really like, time doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you'll find out how to do it, and it's not a 40-hour per piece job. It's here in the 40 minutes that we're talking about, I get to talk about all of them simultaneously.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing to be able to do that.
Where do you think all this came from? Like this passion to serve and continue to help those veterans and first responders?
I think that the passion behind it comes from the fact that, one, you can, and just being able to not be afraid. I think I'm a salesman at heart, and sales is not about a product. It's about a conversation. My dad taught me a long, long time ago that, when you go out on a sales meeting or whatever, it's not about the product. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about getting to know the person on the other end. If they trust you and they like you and they believe in you, they'll do business with you. And if you turn that into what we're doing with the Veteran Network, what I'm trying to do is get all of these nonprofits to talk to each other, to trust each other, to like each other, because it's your veteran that you're referring over to them. It's somebody that is, in some cases, near and dear to your heart. If it's your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, you don't want them going to just a stranger. You want them going to somebody that you know. So, a lot of it comes from just the sheer fact of, if I ever needed help, where would I go? Who is that center? And if I can have people trust me enough to say, look, point me in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So that's where it comes from. And like I said, my dad was a consummate salesman, but he never sold a thing in his life. And that was what I learned learned that just by watching him, that you build relationships, the rest of it just follows suit. If you have purity of heart, if your intent is good, then people understand that. If you're just, trying to sell something for the sake of selling it,
People know that too.
yeah, people know that a lot more. So.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm curious about your time with the Texas Navy.
So interestingly enough, you started off. You actually started off. So if anybody that worked for me on the board knows, I did not say I didn't serve. William did that for me, but I did not serve. My upbringing kind of coincided outside of everything going on. The most exciting thing going on when I was in high school. It's not exciting, stupid to say it that way, but the Iran. But I was a freshman in high school when Iran happened. And so by the time that was done, we were out of everything.
Right.
I was in that peacetime mode. But forgot what I was talking about.
Texas Navy.
Oh, so when I started serve, I would always introduce myself, because the whole part of how the meeting works is that everybody gets 45 seconds to tell who they are, what branch of service, and what do they do for veterans. So I would always say, my name is Jay, I'm not a veteran. And so they got kind of mad at me. And so in 2018, one of the guys in the group reached out to Governor Abbott and had me commissioned in the Texas Navy. So it's a real thing. And if you're a true Texan like I am, back when we were our own independent country before 1845, we actually had a Navy. The Alyssa is still in the harbor. She's one of our original ones. But the Texas Navy came back in the mid-1950s from the governor at that time as a way to thank individuals for their community service. And so this was the guys within Serve had gone and had me commissioned in the Texas Navy, the highest rank that you can have as an admiral. And so that was their way to say, stop telling people you didn't serve. So I can't use it at Gringos. They don't give me 50% off for the Texas Navy. So, and I don't. But
Wait, we get 50% off at Gringos?
yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Really?
Yeah, really. And we got one right here.
You did not know that?
No.
So, well, I mean, okay. So I'll tear
Maybe
off
it's
on a
not
tangent.
here.
I'll come back right on. the
Yeah,
other
right.
side. Yeah, but Russell Ybarra.
Yeah.
Who owns Gringos? I mean, Camp Hope. What's the biggest house at Camp Hope?
It's the
Ybarra House.
It is. Yeah, it is
so
the
it's
Ybarra.
so he is a huge supporter of veterans.
He is.
So if you go to Gringos, Jimmy Chunga, if you say that you're a veteran or a first responder, veteran, we'll stay there. They'll take 50% off your meal.
What are we doing here?
I just thought, hey, I'm from the Texas Navy. I'm not supposed to be telling you your discounts overall, but
Hey, you don't ask, you don't get it, right?
Yeah, see,
Well-
that's something I would have never known.
Yeah.
so about, and just to finish up the Texas Navy story, 3 months ago, I come into my office and I have this great big envelope in my desk. It's a little bit bigger than your piece of paper, your pad in front of you. Open it up. It's from Andrew Brashear, who is the governor of Kentucky. And the same guy that went out and did the admiral in the Texas Navy had me commissioned as a Kentucky colonel.
That's awesome.
So, which, all the fried chicken jokes come out in that one with all the guys in there. But so I do hold the distinct honor of probably being one of the few people that's not only a Texas Navy admiral, but I'm also a colonel in the Kentucky Army. So, which is, whatever. But that goes to show, the impact that I've made,
Yeah, it
not
does.
just on, the veteran organizations, but the veterans that are part of my inner circle, have really said, hey, you're one of us, shut up, quit talking about it, and just
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. And
No. I mentioned it because I want to highlight to vets that, it takes a community, and there's a lot of folks like you that are out there.
tons.
And oftentimes it gets difficult because vets just want to talk to other vets, or not at all. That's the hardest part. But I just want to highlight, what you can do. Where it's like the community is strong, and we need veterans to get involved.
Yeah, and if you really went out and looked at some of the organizations that I have, they're not veteran-owned nonprofits. They're not even run by a veteran. They're like me. They see what I'm doing, and I saw what they're doing, and we go, hey, we can do this. We had the two new ladies that joined us today are with that's called True Grit Federation. Neither one of them served, but they had family members, but they have a nonprofit. So I think I see a lot more of that coming through for us. I mean, I would say maybe 60% are veterans within serve, the other 40%. Because the way I put it out there is that if you happen to be a pool cleaning company, but you'll do pool cleaning for free twice a month for a veteran, or you'll take 20% off, come tell me that. And it's like the Gringos thing. I tell everybody to go to Gringos. I mean, I think that's
I do
cool.
love Gringos.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? But anyway,
Yeah, and I totally understand. I just think that you're right. There's so many organizations out there that are doing great things. You guys are definitely one of them. Tell me a little bit more about the staff that you have there at Serve.
So Serve is me. I'm actually the only staff member. I have 6 other individuals that they are veterans themselves, and I'll kind of introduce them because it's a.
Sorry, I got in the conversation.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So one of the original founding members is a gentleman named Donnie Doffenbaugh. He's a Marine Purple Heart recipient. He was actually one of the 2 guys in my original story that I introduced to each other to say, hey, can we make this work? So he was one of the original. The other one is a lieutenant colonel, retired from the Army, Rob Hefner. He was in for 22 years, he was a tank commander for the Iraqi Army, and that was he was teaching them how to drive tanks and operate them, which is pretty cool. Heather Melton, who is a Coastie. She is been with us almost as long as Donnie has. And then we have Bob Gephardt. He's our Vietnam veteran. He's served, actually was in the Blue Water Navy and offshore during the Vietnam conflict. So, he's got a different perspective than a lot of us have. We have Jeff Picard, who was Navy and Army. And he runs his own nonprofit for scuba diving, which is pretty cool.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff
Yeah.
Picard. He's part of the exec team. Donnie works for a nonprofit. Rob started his own construction company, and then Bob works for. He actually was the founding member. Everybody. But he was the founding member of the Veteran Rotary. He's the reason why we have it. And then the last one is Robin Langseth. She is a Marine herself. So I've got 2 ladies, 4 guys. And so we have I have a very broad group. And so some of them are very passionate about saying yes or no, and others are very passionate about, the research and, because you never know the answer to what we're trying to do. And so I've got 6 of them that will help me do the legwork, give me their opinions and tell me that's a good thing or a bad thing. And they help me do the funding. They help me go out and they talk very highly of it. Matter of fact, this is just side story that I think is really cute. And I get a call yesterday, or what's today? Thursday. So I get a call Tuesday that says, "Hey, I got we're filming a commercial down in Galveston for Moody Gardens. They're having their car and air show down there this weekend, and I'm too big to get in the plane. Do you have somebody, preferably a veteran, that that can do that?" So I thought of Donnie Doffenbaugh. I'm not 200 pounds. I wish I was. And I started looking at the other guys on my exec team. Nope. Oh, Donnie's under 200. So I called Donnie. I said, "Hey, you want to go?" He goes, "Well, I don't have anything." So he goes down there. They put him in a biplane. So they do this entire commercial on Donnie. All it was supposed to be was him to get in there and be a veteran and fly it. So, but as we started down the texting chain of how he got his Purple Heart and how his service was and what he does, we got a huge, 3-minute commercial,
Right.
On him and Serve that it just blows my mind. All because I happen to know somebody that was looking, and they just picked up the phone and said, "Hey, can you?" And I was like, "Here we go." And so he got to go and do that and fly in the biplane, go upside down, and do all kinds of other stuff, and just had a blast. But in that's the power of just accidental. You get to know people, they reach out. So
Yeah, that's the power of connection.
yeah, but that he is one of the members of the team, and when we try to do things like that, I let them advocate. You made the comment about veterans not wanting to talk to veterans, and I understand that. And if somebody talks to me, I count it as a blessing, and actually a huge sign of respect. But if they don't, I don't. It's not disrespect.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have the shared experience, and I understand that. And so my job is to not be butthurt, but to help them and to find that guy or girl that has had the shared experience or that can get through to them. But my guys and gals have taught me how to do that better over the last 8 years. And so there's not a whole lot, and so I get a little bit more brave and bold and conversational with these folks on to what they can and can't do because I'm more educated.
Right.
Yeah,
You know your stuff.
You definitely named some people that you have on your team that we're very familiar with. Bob, we know Bob, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then Heather, we know Heather also, and Jeff. Jeff, everybody knows Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Rob, if you saw Rob,
Yeah.
the only one that you may not know in that group is Robin. Robin is Robin and her. They owned Axe Masters in League City.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So they have that part of it. But Robin was, she was one of those maritime individuals, in logistics, and she worked out of the port of Freeport and helped build that one up. Actually helped build the Royal Caribbean terminal that just opened up last year down there. So that was something that she was heavy into. But she's probably the most unknown, unless you're down in our Galveston County area. And
Okay,
then she's
yeah.
exceptionally well known. So she stays south of Beltway 8.
Yeah.
Sounds like Raul.
Yeah.
I only leave for food, man.
And
That's
I
the
don't
only
blame.
reason.
Well, go to Gringos. You get 50% off.
That's here in Pearland. I'm glad.
You got
for that.
two of them.
Yeah.
You got the original, and then
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's been a great ride.
That's good. I love to hear that.
It's definitely amazing, man. We're definitely glad that you came back and you made time for us. Like I told you earlier, man, William messed it all up.
I don't look at it like that. I look at it as one more opportunity to tell people. And here's the thing: I didn't bring up Gringos last time.
Yeah, I know.
So had William not screwed up, you would still not know that Gringos
So
gives you half off.
when we bring you in for a third time, you're gonna notice
come up with some new
a
stuff.
weight difference.
That's
in
right.
me.
You're going to be bigger,
That's gonna be why.
and you're going to be eating tacos while we have this conversation.
Oh man, tacos sound good.
I know, don't they?
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
No,
Thank
I
you,
love
guys.
that. Yeah, I've been an advocate. I try
I
to
know, I
share you
appreciate
guys as much as we can. I mean, you guys are a lot in all of the events that we get invited to. So, thank you. That's
You're very
amazing.
welcome. Very welcome.
What do you got? What's coming up? You got anything that would like to plug or put?
Oh,
out
we
there?
got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I
here
try
for
not
you.
to be self-serving in that regard, but
But since you brought it up,
yeah, I'm gonna let you know. So I've got 3 things. Two of them are actually on 9/11.
Yes.
I truly believe 9/11 is the one unfortunate time where both first responders and military were equally impacted. More so one group heavily on one day, and then the next day, the other population. So, but it's one of the few times that everybody was there. So, League City at their training facility off of Kansas on 9/11. I partner with, or they asked me to help them. The League City Fire Department, they put on a program down there that'll blow your mind. And so what they do is that they invite the general public, they invite all of the fire departments from around. And what they do is that ceremonially, they have the fire departments dress up in full gear. They walk the training tower, the equivalent of 110 stories.
Oh, wow.
In full gear. And they let the general public join them. It is probably one of the most surreal things that you'll ever see, because there's just a time where all you hear is, there's no talking, there's nothing. It's just pure silence as people walk the stairs. But it's absolutely riveting. But it's also a way to say thank you, and that we remember and we honor the 343 firefighters that were killed in the trade towers. The second thing later that night, Precinct 2 down off of Nassau Road 1 at Clear Lake Park is hosting their annual Patriot Day event. 6 to 9, we're looking for vendors. We're looking for folks to come out veterans alike, to come out and just visit with all of the vendors that are out there, find out what's available resource-wise. And so we're just trying to get more people out to participate in that particular program. So
There is a 9/11 memorial there.
there is a 9/11 memorial there, and then they have they're going to have some food trucks and some vendors. They'll have obviously county commissioner out there to give some words, but it's a very, very good program that is put on by Precinct 2. So I want a lot of people there.
Yeah, it's another place for vets to get connected.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a lot of resources there. I remember I went. I don't remember. Did you have it last year?
Yeah.
I think I did. I think I was there. Nope, it was the year before. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff to do there. There is, because they had small businesses. I remember you get in touch with them, and then there's all kind of resources. And so Houston's ginormous. There's always things going on. But if you're in that area, I'd highly encourage you to go by and check it out.
Yeah, and then the last one, probably my favorite of all of them, because this is about serve. But on December 7th, from 6 to 9 down in Texas City, we're at the Marquee Mainland, which is right in the old Texas City Mall. We are hosting it'll be the third annual Pearl Harbor dinner. All the proceeds go to Serve. So the organizations that had originally put that together have kind of adopted Serve, and going forward, it'll be an annual event for Serve to get together, but it's actually going to be on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th. We're going to have really cool guests. We'll have food. We'll have libations. We'll have the ability for people to, just get together and celebrate and honor those from World War II, the greatest generation. And it's kind
Amen.
Huh?
Say amen.
I mean, and it's cool. We had 3 or 4 World War II veterans last year that I got to sit with at the table and talk to. But it's amazing. But to be able to have that as an annual fundraiser now for Serve it's just one more piece for us to be able to put money back into Serve, so that we can turn around and give it right back out in helping veterans get off the street, pay their utilities, get the things that they need to make their lives better as they transition out, or maybe they just have a bad week, and we're there to help them. So.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it. Be sure to keep us informed. When flyers are released, be sure to throw them our way.
Oh, yeah.
So we can,
William's on the distribution list. So.
I am. I got to update my email. But I am.
Gets a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
he does.
I got the Charlie Mike. I got the Charlie Mike podcast email. That's what he's on right now.
Yeah,
so.
that is.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm there. You
go.
can always find me.
Anyway.
Man, Jay, this has been phenomenal.
William, what do you got coming up yourself?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
put you on the spot.
I don't have anything.
Why don't you talk about your December 7th event, Raul, that you have with me in Texas City?
In Pearl Harbor? The
Pearl Harbor dinner. Yeah,
Oh,
you remember?
yeah.
Yeah. No.
If we're invited, we'll be there.
No, I'm kidding. Raul, do you have anything that you have coming up? Nobody asked you. So
I'm just blessed to be here with you guys, listening to you. I forgot that I was controlling this for a good amount of time.
That's okay.
And I was just looking at you.
You know what? I feel bad because all you're going to see is my right, my right eye.
Exactly.
I'm talking to William over here, so it's just part of it. But like I said, if you learn nothing else today, Gringos.
Yeah,
That's right.
I was mesmerized.
No,
in
there's so much. Texas Navy,
Kentucky Colonel.
over 2,000 organizations within Texas, SoutheastTexasHeroes.com contact page. Kentucky Colonel.
You're,
Yeah.
you're about to hit 35 anniversary.
35,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
35
got some
years
good
working,
notes over here.
35, yeah. It's a beautiful year.
So there's so many ways to get involved. We highly encourage you to do so. Mr. Jay, thank you for coming on. And
thanks
we
for
really,
having me.
truly appreciate your time. The second time, always better than the first time. Hopefully, that's what we're going to stick with because there's no proof.
Of course.
But as always, my last question for you, Charlie Mike means continue mission.
Yep.
Right. So what does Charlie Mike mean to you?
You know what? We're continuing the mission as well. I mean, there are a lot of veterans out there that aren't sure where to go or if they even can go. And so our job is to, continue making sure that they are taken care of and that they have the resources and the answers that they hopefully need to make their families better. They're not alone. They're not in this fight by themselves. And, the easiest thing that they need to do is just ask. And that's as simple as that. And then let us go from there. And, we've got a lot of people that are in the same big boat that we're driving right now. And there's room for a lot more. So
Amazing.
thank you.
Thank you again for being on the show today. We really appreciate you coming back. I promise William won't ruin this one. Hey, you guys, we really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you as always. Be sure to follow my man William on all his social media platforms. That's at Mustache Wisdom, and check him out on TikTok for his daily motivational videos. Hey, we need those numbers up. Yeah, come on. Come on. Y'all be sure to follow William on TikTok. I know y'all are on TikTok. Everybody's on TikTok, except for me.
No, you're getting there. I've seen Charlie Mike pop up, and I'm like, that's not me. That's Raul.
Is it me? Okay,
cool.
when my kids send me TikToks, I click it to watch it if that's what it is.
And then he gets sucked in. Y'all know how it is. He
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
to scroll, the death scroll.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we appreciate it. You guys be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe. If you want to come check out the podcast studio, be sure to do that. That's at PearlandPodcastStudio.com. Where do they find the apparel?
Oh, you can find the apparel at CharlieMikeMilitaryApparel.com.
Yes, so y'all be sure to check it out. And
That's what funds this right now, all right?
yes, that's what funds this.
like
yes. So we appreciate you guys. As always, Charlie, Mike,